Michelle, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. Nice to meet you, Sam. I see you like cats.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I gotta keep it tight. But speaking of people keeping it tight, we gotta keep it tight because we ain't got a lot of time here. But
That's
before we
good.
start every podcast, Michelle, I don't know if you know about my podcast. We are slobberingly grateful for anyone who wants to sit on that other side and be my guest. And so much of your caliber, who I have watched your career, we do something that's called the over the top intro. Can I butter your bread a little bit? Can I do that for you?
Of course. Of course. I can't wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is award-winning actor, writer, and director. She has appeared in a myriad of television shows and films, including Saving Face, Hawaii Five-O, A Million Miles Away, and what we are here to talk about today, Float. In theaters and digital and on demand starting February 9th, 2024. The only thing more extensive than my guest's IMDb profile is the amount of items in her online shopping cart. Michelle Krusiec, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, guys. Hi, guys. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you. That was quite an intro. I feel like storming the castle now.
You should. You're that powerful. You're that special. Yes, I've watched you on Hawaii Five-O. I watch you in different stuff. And the only way I love about your now, I promise we're gonna get the flow in a second. But but like some of the things that you've done, not only in front of the camera, behind the camera too. You teach, you lecture, you help a lot of people who want to jump into this crazy world that we have, allowed ourselves to be into, and you're giving them pointers, what and what not to do. That is commendable. If no one has ever told you yet, I'm telling you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm oozing every kind of process possible, creative support, making the work, being in the work. I am a creative person.
Well, speaking of a creative person, I want to talk about Aunt Rachel for a second. Aunt Rachel is fun, complex, and a little bit of everything. Just to be quite honest, if you watch Float, what made you want to take on this character?
Well, I normally play very broken characters, very emotionally driven characters that are running from crisis or encountering crisis or dying, Um, and
Yeah.
Rachel is she's just center of the road, reliable. She is very liberated. She knows who she is, and she's doing the right things by being her ally, by being Waverly's ally. And we all need someone like Rachel in our lives. We need that inner critic that we have in our heads to be turned on its head and saying the opposite of what they're normally saying, passing judgment, telling us what to do. Instead, Rachel is the one that is giving advice and then saying, which path do you take? Do you choose you or do you choose this?
Now, one thing about Rachel's character that I love, and I got a chance to talk with the director earlier, and we talked about one of her. I don't know if I should tell you this. I don't know if she told you this, but one thing that she made it very plain that everyone has their own little story, and quite honestly, when Sharon was talking to me, Rachel's a bit of a rebel to some degree, where she didn't stick on the beaten path that her family, when we talk about it, it's very hard to talk about this movie without spoiling stuff. But her sister, Waverly's mother, and she kind of rebelled from the path that both of them were supposed to take. And I'll use air quotes as I say that. Can you speak a little bit about that, or did you know that that was one of the little, nuggets she tossed in there?
Yes, Sharon and we talked about the backstory of Rachel, how she got to this little town of Holden, and in terms of where Rachel has come from, she is a bit of the black sheep of the family in that she broke through the expectations of her parents and has done something quite different than what they expected. So she's really earned her place in terms of being able to say, she's walked the walk. And now she's in a space where she lives in this town that she thought that, I mean, she was married and then she got divorced, but she stayed in that town. And this is a town that usually sees tourists come and go. It's not necessarily a town you would stay in. So because of that, you really start to meet all the different characters in this town, and you realize that, like most towns that are kind of touristy, they're like paradise, but for the people who stay, what is that town? There are towns that town holds a lot of issues, like for Blake, it's not necessarily the perfect town for him. So it really kind of presents a whole world that, for some characters works and for other characters it doesn't work.
Speaking of characters, you've played a lot of them. And I mean, throughout your work, how would you say Aunt Rachel is different or similar to you as a person, as Michelle?
I think Rachel is now where I'm coming to as a person. It's taken me a long time, and this is kind of why I do all the things that I do, Sam, which is
Mhm.
that the process of being an artist is constantly having a conversation with who you are, what you're trying to do, what kind of work you're trying to put out there, and why is it meaningful? Why does it deserve visibility? Because it's very, very hard to be an artist in our culture. Everything gets, it becomes monetized. And when you're in that conversation with yourself, you start to learn a few things that you wish you had known 10 or 20 years ago. And Rachel is at the place now where I'm finally meeting up with myself, where I can say these words and I actually mean it. I actually
Mm.
believe it. Whereas maybe 5 years ago, I don't know if I could say these words and really know that I actually understand what these words mean. I've really earned my right to having learned these lessons so that I can give the lesson now. And in talking to this younger version of myself, which is played by Andrea Bang, I'm in a sense, I'm talking to myself. I'm able to give myself this advice. Whereas before, I never would have been able to really do that.
Okay. Now, I want to kind of shift roles a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more about Michelle and how Rachel and Michelle meet because you may not talk to, I probably talked to and Andrea when you were out there. You were doing the lecture series. You've done some online work. You've had extensive interviews with this. And you always talk about the multiple paths in the process when it comes down to acting. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you applied that to this role?
Do you mean like the craft of acting technique?
I don't think we have that much time, but I was getting at like the path that leads you here and how you just kind of like knock it out apart, which you did, by the way, because you said something that stuck out to me, and I'm paraphrasing, and
No
it
worries.
was when you get a character, you kind of have to find that part in you and then kind of turn it up a bit. Now, that's my understanding of it. So, is that something you
Yeah.
did with on Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Rachel, if anything, I was trying to kind of tune her up, but really Sharon wanted me to tune her down. Because because I tried to make her maybe more of like the crazy aunt character. That's
Okay,
that's the comic relief.
okay,
But with Sharon, I think because we're living in more of a romance drama, not necessarily a romance comedy, Rachel was much more sincere and honest, and nothing is being put on her. She's not being the crazy aunt, She's not like trying to do something to distract from the main character. She's really just there for the main character to really, really listen to as an intuitive mother. So for me, that's that's kind of naturally who I am, to be honest with you. But nobody's really asking me to do that.
what?
Usually I'm playing the strict mean character, the
Yep.
villainous character. I'm playing a lot of tropes that we have seen.
Hmm.
I'm probably way more connected to Rachel in this part than I have maybe to other parts where I'm asked to like kill people or
Yeah, yeah. That's actually leading into my next question because without a doubt, I can't think of a lighter character that you have played than Aunt Rachel off the top of my head. You have been the mean person. You have either been killing someone, dying, just plain unfriendly to be around. So let's just bring that out. And I'm not getting that from Rachel. I'm not getting that from you, actually. So what was the how did you like it or how did you take it in when you guys went to the premiere and saw it? Where you were like, hey guys, I was that person. Didn't kill anyone this time. You know, or I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But how was it with the premiere seeing yourself in a different light, and how did the audience treat you in a different light?
It's funny. My friends who know me, they all said, "Oh, this character is very much like you," because they know me. Whereas, for the general public, I have more of the personas that I play. So, when I did Anime Wong, I was playing this iconic character that was very, very intimidating to figure out how to step into those shoes.
Hmm.
Um, you know, um, so yeah, I think in many ways I am just kind of more like Rachel, and it's cool to hear someone say, "Oh, this is very much like who you are," because to me, I think that is not obvious, but obviously to people who know me, it's very apparent. So I think it's nice. Sometimes as an actor, you kind of don't know what it's going to look like until you finally see it up on screen. So yeah, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that is me kind of like as a hippie, as an artistic hippie. But that's also just who I am.
Okay, okay. Now, speaking of things, now this is some I read on the internet. If you want to shut this down, you can.
Okay.
I know filming, sometimes there's a bit of downtime. And I read on the internet that you are a bit of an extreme sports enthusiast. You enjoy some hang gliding, snowboarding, and just you're right there on location. Did you get a chance to get into any of that stuff while you were there, or is it just kind of you're there to work?
No, well, with this role, I was able to play because that's what the character needed, was for me to be in play mode. So I was playing, but in that area where we were, the play was like being in nature. It was like hiking, looking at waterfalls, walking through pine forests. So I wouldn't say my sport enthusiast came out, and it's been a while, I'll be honest, because I have kids now, so I don't have
Mhm.
the time to do the things that I used to do. But in terms of this film and what I was able to do, I think I probably had a lot more fun than most because I had more time in between setups,
Okay.
to go to my hotel and or take a day off.
Okay, okay. And I get it. When you get kids and like me, I rock the ring, got the wife, got the kids. I can't exactly do a lot of stuff I used to do either without an explanation. I like yeah, so I totally get it.
Yes.
Now we're getting up.
I always eat though. I always eat well. Andrew Bachelor and I and the rest of the cast, we would go out and we would have meals together, and that's always something that I have to say is consistent.
Okay, did you have a favorite? Did you have a favorite meal or something?
Oh yeah, I was telling someone else that Andrew on our first cast dinner out ordered this he ordered this sushi platter. It was like the premium deluxe supreme. It was
Hmm.
3 feet tall and about 5 feet wide, and it came on a boat. And they
Okay.
delivered this boat to our table, and I think he said something, and I don't think he was joking, but he was like, "This is my portion." And I think he like ordered one to go or something, but I was very impressed that I was being out eaten at the dinner table, which is, that's very hard to do for an Asian foodie like myself.
Oh my goodness. He said it came on a boat. Look, I have to speak with him a little bit later. I'm bringing that up. I have to bring that up.
Okay,
Uh,
good, good.
but we're up against it. Obligatory question I have to ask. What's next on the horizon for you?
I have a film called Tiger Mom that's in post. I was part of the writing team for it. It stars Ken Jeong. It's about Asian tiger mothers. I'm also in another film called Afterbirth. We haven't shot that yet, but I'm also one of the producers. It's about a woman who goes through a very traumatic birth and then discovers that her baby starts talking to her and whispering evil things in her ear.
I'm very
Um,
curious to see that. Go
yeah,
on. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead. I want to see that.
no worries. And I'm hoping to make the feature length film of Nien, which is based on my short film Nien. I'm the writer director and waiting for that to be greenlit as a
Okay.
feature.
Well, Michelle, it's always a pleasure. I wish I had more time. When those projects come out, you got a home here. You want to come in and chop it up. Who knows? We'll have a hat for you. Whatever we got to do. We'll do it here. We wish you much success, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much.
All right, you have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye.